Welcome to ToV Live. It is Valhalla time to get this thing off. Yes, hi. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome tonight to the ToV Podcast live recording on Sunday nights as always. I am Ryan, Tales of Valhalla, and I have with me tonight Sergio Crazy and Sir Jason, aka Rocco Robotics. Welcome, guys, tonight to the ToV Live stream. It's fun to have you. It's good having you guys tonight. How are we doing tonight? How's our week been? I know Joe gone through a bunch of Heroscape stuff yesterday. Online Heroscape, Sir Heroscape stuff. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, your Heroscape had his first of many Champion Circle events, which are all online Heroscape. So I think there was about 33 people that attended and played. There was a few dropouts midway through the tournament. We each got to play 5 games, which was pretty awesome. Started at 11 o'clock Central Time, 12 o'clock Eastern Time. And I think it went till 6 o'clock for me, and then 5 o'clock, whatever, for Central. So, yeah, solid day. Met new people, talked to a lot of different Heroscapers, which is awesome. And yeah, if you're curious to know how well I did, I won 3 games out of 5. So.
Good job.
Yeah. I gotta say, though, the most interesting thing I learned was Capawans, the gladiators, Crixus and Spartacus, evil. Absolutely evil. Wrecked shop. That was the most common. I mean, I fought against this one guy, okay, with them, and like it was a tight match, very tight match. Then I go, all right, cool, I lost, whatever, brand new game. Get the new game, meet this other guy. It's his brother, and they took the same army. Back to back. I fought against the Capawans, Spartacus, and Crixus. I was like, you're kidding. Like, I had to be like, okay, I had to learn something, right? Now I turn on my strategy. Apparently, learned nothing from it. I don't know. But I had a blast. It was a good day. I look forward for the future ones. Anyone can join up. Ryan, Jason. But anyone could join up. I think the next one's gonna be in June. I'll double check on that one. But
I will
so we have a couple months to prepare.
I'll be in Peru.
There you go. but any of you can join in on the fun. Sir Heroscape has his own Discord channel now. He's hopped on the train with all of us. So, big community he's got. And I think he did a really good job. He did a really good job with hosting the event. It was a really, really good event.
Very cool.
What is the format of the games? Is it just normal Heroscape, or is there something particular about the matches?
The only thing that changes for competitive play is the army value. So it's like, you know, I don't remember the exact one, but it'd be like the army point would change. I think it was 495. I believe it was also Delta points, and we could only use Classic. So those are the usually things that fluctuate, is like what you can take. Either it's like Classic only, or like Classic and also Valhalla Customs, or is it Classic points versus Delta points? Is it, is it going to be 500 points, 520, 600, 400 points? And the point, so those are the really things that fluctuate. Otherwise, you're playing on very competitive maps. And if you've never seen a competitive map, they're very developed, but basic, just kind of like nothing going any higher than 4 levels.
Still a nightmare. Still absolute nightmare, these things. If I remember correctly. And Jason, so how's that snow up there in Michigan, eh?
Almost all melted.
Oh, okay. Great. Great.
Only lasted for about 48 hours or so, but that was enough to take down a bunch of trees from the heavy weight of the heavy half frozen snow that fell on them.
Did you get as much as they were predicting?
Some areas around here did, yes.
Okay.
The forecast of about 6 to 10 inches was not too far off for most people in the area.
Interesting. And down here, we didn't get snow, but we had high winds, like wind gusts up to like 60 miles per hour.
Intense.
And it was like, we're actually right now in the county that I'm in Kentucky is a state of emergency to where, and I have to give this warning tonight, power could go off anytime. It just, I mean, it hasn't gone off in like 24 hours, so that's a good thing. But it just, there's still like about 11% of the county without power, and sometimes it like power company turns stuff on and off. So if something goes down, if all of a sudden this live stream is just completely cut off, I'm not going to try to resuscitate it again, and we'll just do something next week. So hopefully everything will be fine. It should be fine. But I just wanted to give that caveat a little bit tonight before that happens, because it was just a crazy weekend. So anyway, how about we get started then with what we got tonight, and we start with a little bit of Thormun's journal. How about we do that?
Indubitably.
Let me bring that up here. I got it. It's got to be somewhere here. We're going to be doing three journal entries tonight. 7, 8, and 9. All about He's Totally at Mine Shackled, Joe Crazy's favorite guys, the Morrow. So, Joe, how about you start with the first journal entry here?
All right. We're in Nostraland. Journal entry number 7. Waylon also told me about Utgar's Mara warriors. In the past, when I used to drink from the wellspring, I used to get visions of these creatures fighting hordes of snakes. Skinless and dripping, these creatures are the most disgusting that I've ever seen yet. They are brutal with their weapons, and somehow they actually seem to be multiplying. During a battle, I witnessed the most unusual thing. As soon as one of these creatures died, another one was formed. I saw one creature in the water look as if it was going to split in two. Its body began to stretch apart. I thought it was going to split in half. Then suddenly I looked, and there were 2 of these creatures standing where there used to be only one. Can such creatures ever be completely destroyed?
Yes, the Mara warriors. All right. Journal entry 8. Jason, go ahead.
All right. As Raylan was talking quietly, we heard in the distance something moving through the forest. We quickly flew up in a large tree with many leaves. If we remain quiet, we should be able to observe what is coming without being spotted. That's when we saw this hideous creature. Looks like Utgar has a new addition to his already powerful Morrow army. This creature was surrounded by an army of Morrow drones and a huge horde of blade gruts.
And journal entry 9 says, on the left flank, there is a horde of these skeleton dogs. I like that name, skeleton dogs. They look like another Morrow creature. Sergeant Alexander is not going to be happy. We're going to have to make a break for the air to warn the Northern Army. Basically, they're going to fly out. It's like, yeah, this ground, yeah, we need to fly. So this is still the continued scouting mission. And they're identifying the enemy. And basically a ton of Morrow. Some orcs, but mostly Morrow drones. The nag grubs as well as now. Remind me what who's this? Who's this Morrow? Is this a Hive Lord?
What next to? Oh, that's
Journal entry 8.
Torkolna.
Torkolna, right? Okay.
Torkolna. No, Contorna? Hold on. Because I get the one that teleports.
We should I have to blame myself. This is something we should have. I should have studied for.
This is a learning experience
prior to the podcast. But of course, I just previously explained it's been a crazy weekend.
Torkolna.
Okay, I was right. Okay.
Yeah. Torkolna. So yeah, describing Torkolna, and this is basically just a good, fun look at what was the starter, or what was one of the starter sets of Swarm of the Morrow. These creatures, just kind of introducing them.
Contorna was the CV one. Okay.
So were these three journal entries then written like a while after? Because weren't the first bunch all tied to Rise of the Valkyrie, and then these three are obviously for Swarm of the Morrow?
It looks like. If Jeremy would hear, he would know the answer right away.
They all written.
But what's interesting, though, I mean, they are, of course, talking about the Morrow, but the Morrow Warriors were Rise of the Valkyrie.
Right.
That's true.
But it is interesting of the time frame of when the journals eventually came out. Because also with the Martin Hounds, they were an expansion unit which might have come out in between
Skeleton
both
Dogs
master sets.
Were the Martin Hounds were the Martin Hounds not part of Swarm of the Morrow?
They were Swarm of the Morrow.
I thought
not
they
in
were.
The master set.
I thought so. Thought they were part of the master set.
Pretty sure they were the Swarm of the Morrow master set.
Somebody do some digging and research for a minute.
No, because Stingers and Drudges and oh my god. No. Oh my god, now I forgot which one you said.
What? Torkolna?
Now I have
Torkolna?
Turkolna. Because I was gonna say Tulbakra, and they said no, that's a
Torkolna.
Oh my god.
That's what you get for making different symbol or different cram like three sounds together into one creature name. That's what you get if you can't remember everything. They all sound the same.
Yeah, no. So you got you got 2 squads of the Grubs, 2 squads of Drudges, 2 squads of Stingers, and then Torkolna.
Yeah, there you go.
With the master set.
So yeah. They were part of that. Morrow Warriors, fun. Torkolna, fun. Although, Joe, have you played Torkolna often?
Often enough to kind of understand what he does. Why?
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
That would be.
Yeah,
fun
I mean,
to face him off
for
against you.
His point value is enormous, but having him bond with the Nagrubs and being able to heal himself with them, and what you do, you essentially use him as a bulldozer. He is just a bulldozer. So even with the double base, you can literally just back him up, beep beep beep, and then just ram in the next unit. And you can leave engagement with him. Risk losing getting a wound just for him to back up and then ram right into you again just to stomp you. So he's a fun one to play with. He's fun.
He can potentially just bash his way through 1 wound models pretty easily if he rolls
very
easily.
And just thinking about the lore part of this, because when you have like Raylan, Thormun spying out these guys, and they're assuming that it's Utgar obviously Utgar brought these into Valhalla, but these were also creatures that spawned on Valhalla as well. So my question, and unfortunately, Jeremy, we love you, but but we do miss you. My question would be is when their observation is that Utkar had something to do with bringing them in, but at the same time, I know there was some point within, I think it was either before or after Swarm of the Morrow, the events, that they started spawning themselves, and they're kind of a hard race for Utkar to control, if I remember correctly.
I would presume so, since they are a hive mind.
Yeah.
And so if he doesn't have full control over the hive, then how they could always be like a rogue faction.
Yeah, they almost are, usually. I mean, that's how I've always kind of seen them. And I mean, I know for a fact that they did start spawning other versions of themselves while in Valhalla.
Yeah.
Utkar might have brought, some things in initially, but I think there's a few that just ended up, we're going to make something new,
Mm-hmm.
here in Valhalla, and just really freak people out. And
that's what the most interesting thing, because I almost want to say maybe that, like, for example, Meebergsaw was a product of something new on Valhalla, because maybe from where they came from, they didn't know what a horse was. Yeah. Because they have giant dogs, small dogs, and then they also had, unless Nagrubs or like the Marden faction became the Valhalla morph. I don't know.
Maybe because
that's my theory, but
because why are they called Marden and not Morrow?
Right.
Mm-hmm. I guess another question is, and I don't know, maybe we'll try and remember next time Jeremy's on with us to re-ask him these things, or maybe he can just watch this video when the segmented video's out and just answer in the comments below. But I like how they use the term skeleton dogs here. But why is Sergeant Alexander not going to be happy? That's one thing I'm just like, okay, what's that about? That's what comes to my mind. And if I did any form of research, I'd have an answer to that, but I don't. So yeah, and I think that's the video, right?
Yeah.
Nothing else I can think of at the moment when it comes to the lore, but basically, Kyrie doing some scouting, and I don't know what happened to Joe. Okay, there you are, Joe. It's like you whited out for a second.
I made a thing. So.
And yeah, so they see Utkar already having overwhelming forces of who knows what at that time, and now they got to go back and tell the others. And so that's basically where we're at with Thormun's journal. And next time we will continue reading those journal entries when whatever the next journal entries would be. So that's journal entry 789, is that what I said?
Yep.
Let me double check that.
Yep.
That is
789.
6 of 7.
Yep. So that's reading. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to finish up with one last thing, but
yeah, go ahead.
Do
the last thing.
What would be a fun game design aspect if they would have continued on with this Morrow storyline is that some of the Morrow cards, their home planet would have been Valhalla, as if they were actually originally spawned and somehow created on Valhalla using things that were already there and then not actually summoned from their original homeworld of Mar.
Right. No, yeah. No, I think that would be an interesting thing to put in the cards, because I know they're somewhere to where they started making different versions of themselves on Valhalla. That's why they started Utkar, I think, started losing control of them, and they just started swarming everywhere. That's it's one of their wonderful qualities. But yes, okay, that has been the reading of Thormun's journal entry 7, 8, and 9, and we'll read more soon in the future. Okay, now what is next? It is looking at. Wait a minute. Stop touching my face. Oh my goodness. I notice I do that all the time. Okay, take a breath. Okay, we want to begin this segment like just as presentable as possible to all three of you watching, which is probably us. And next up, we have the next hero or squad that we're going to be talking about, and this is my favorite, my favorite squad, and you'll know why in a second. We're going to be looking at the Airborne Elite in this segment, and I'm just going to say it because I already, some people are like, you don't have names. I have names. I have names for them.
Look, that is the lore. That is you have created lore for them.
This is what Tales of Valhalla is. This is the main protagonist in the stop motion series is on the Airborne Elite. So I gave him names, personalities, and so okay, we got here in the back is Toothpick, a man of many words, and then we got Gimp, a man of fewer words but lots of grenades, and then we have Henderson, who is all attitude, and then in the front there, as should be, Daniel Taylor, who calls himself Lieutenant Dan, who has a lot more attitude. So yeah, those are the guys. And for the game, in the game stat card, Airborne Elite under Jandar, they are human, unique squad, soldiers, disciplined, medium, 5 height. They have 1 life each, move of 4 spaces, range of 8 spaces, attack of 3 dice, defense of 2 dice, 110 points. Their special attack, or their special abilities, consist of grenade special attack, range 5, lob 12, attack 2. And let me just read this. Use this power once per game. Start the game with a grenade marker on this card. Remove the grenade marker to throw grenades. 1 at a time. Do the following with each Airborne Elite. Choose a figure to attack. No clear line of sight is needed. Any figures adjacent to the chosen figure is also affected by the grenade special attack. So it's easy. It's better to throw your grenades in clusters of enemies. Roll 2 attack dice once for all affected figures. Each figure rolls defense dice separately. And then they have an ability called the Drop, which is very, very unique to the game. Airborne Elite do not start the game on the battlefield. At the start of each round, before you place order markers, roll the 20-sided die. If you roll a 13 or higher, you may place all 4 Airborne Elite figures on any empty spaces. You cannot place them adjacent to each other or other figures or on glyphs. Now, before we get into the lore part, just the stats part of the Airborne Elite, they are a very unique squad. Very, very unique squad. And they come, of course, from the Rise of the Valkyrie Master set. And although I think their biggest weakness is that 2 defense dice, because if they're not like on an elevated spot to where they can defend themselves, they can be wiped out pretty quick. So you gotta know how to use them, because if you don't, it's gonna be a bad game for you. And okay, let me get this up here again. Now, their attack 3 is great because, again, 3 or 4 if they're on elevation, and when it comes to their drop ability, again, the drop is kind of a double-edged sword. If you can, like, in your first round of your game, get that 13 or higher roll, and it's fairly good odds to get 13 or higher on the first round. I've had round to where it's like it's been 4 rounds and they haven't dropped, and then it's not great. But if you can get it within the first round or 2, especially the first round, you drop them, and they're basically the first like miniatures like in the battlefield and you can position them, you have a pretty good advantage. But it does take a little bit of luck for them on that.
I think the most powerful thing here is their range 8.
Yep.
A lot of the good armies that I've seen, especially when it comes to either you're playing with Stingers, 4th Mass, 10th Reg, these are the units that I think about a lot. They're only got a range of 5, and I think they have 6 for 10th Reg. So 7 is to me the sweet point when it comes to range. There's some out there with 7, like the Arbian Archers. But range 8, and you get to kind of put them wherever you want.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of need a defensive too, just to kind of offset the stats of the range, and especially or the grenade special. I mean, if you have like a horde of whatever the opposite army is trying to go after you, you just use grenade special attack, and you might be able to wipe out a few of their forces. Because I mean, if they're all bunched up together, be careful. So
and this is for each unit,
right?
That you throw.
Yeah, exactly, and they are a ton of fun to play on the battlefield, even if you lose, and your odds, depending on how well you know and play them, your odds sometimes cannot be that great until you learn how to use them well. And I'm one person that I'm still not at the point to where I can use them well yet. But when you get the sweet spot, it's a lot of fun regardless. Because you learn, and they're complicated enough to where it's like either you don't use them well and then you have learning experience, or you use them well and then you learn more with them. But yeah, they're just, like I said, a very, very unique squad to everyone else, especially with the drop ability. Love that drop ability. And
I went to go look up what their delta points were, and they went up 10 points. That's crazy. I'm not sure because I don't see the community use them too often.
Right.
So I was curious to see what the response would be, is if how balanced they are, because that's what Delta really technically does. It just kind of rebalances some of the cards with the point values. It doesn't change any stats or special powers. It just changes the point value. And I was curious to see if it would go down in points significantly. Would they make them a 90-point squad, or would they, go up in points? But going up 10 points, that's not bad. So
as long as you know how to use them, it could be. It could go
Practice
well for you.
Makes perfect.
And I mean, at the very least, even if someone ends up wiping them out for a lucky roll or stuff, even 1 or 2 airborne elite miniatures can really give a big headache to your opponent if you position them in the right way.
What's the basic strategy? It seems like you just drop them on a high point about 8 hexes away to get your +1 attack, +1 defense, and just snipe away. Right?
Basically, yeah.
Yep.
That's it. It's basically getting a good offensive position in the battlefield right away. Like I said, but again, if you don't get that drop within the first round or two, then your chances of getting a better position.
Rather than come in late game.
Would you rather them come in late?
Yeah, mid game, even at the after the 3rd round.
I think either at the very beginning, or near the end. You wouldn't want it in the middle when there's miniatures everywhere over the board.
Because depending on your army composition, if you take a bunch, let's say a bunch of melee squads, and you move them all the way up, you're focusing your order markers on them and to set them up. You get people engaged, you get people set up, and then hopefully maybe on the 2nd or 3rd round you bring the airborne in, Probably more like the third, because you put the first two order markers first two rounds you want to set all your order markers up so you can get them into the battlefield. And then the past couple of games I've played this past week, either online or in person, I've been rushed in my start zone. I've had wolves come at me.
Oh, boy.
I've had, let's say, the gladiators rush at me. I didn't have to move too far into the map. And so if that was the case, and let's say by the third round, the beginning of the third round, I want the airborne lane to drop into the opposite end of the map, or at least on the top of the middle of the map, so to snipe and protect me in the start zone, so I can then move up. Then you get to put, if they come in too early, then you got to put all your order markers on them. I feel like wouldn't want them to go to waste.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Would there be an advantage if they come in early? Then you get a situation where the opponent has to deal with them instead of just rushing your deployment zone, and now you've got time to set up your defenses, your response to the enemy as they're trying to deal with the airborne elite.
That's totally viable too.
And it depends. I guess it depends on how the game or the dice rolls and the game goes, and how the map is too.
Right.
It also depends on the map how you position it.
Jason. That's still a viable situation. If that happens that very first round, do absolutely take advantage of that and do that. I literally at that point put all your order markers on them your first round. A lot of people do that with the Mara Warriors. The Mara Warriors are way better when they're taking advantage of the first couple of rounds, get them on height, attacking down with 3 constantly. Or I should say 4. I think they're at 3 too, as well.
And Jason, you said you had some type of story. Did it have to do with the stats of the airborne elite? Is that something we want to mention now?
Yeah, I don't care. So the very first time I played Heroscape, this was right around 2004 when the game came out. It was at a games convention. I'm like, I don't know what this game is. I'll give it a try. And somehow, I think my opponent had the Zedian Guard and the Deathwalker all grouped up together. And I had the Airborne Elite, started tossing grenades in to try to crack all 3 of their defenses at once. And I don't know, obviously my opponent was trying to do some shady cheating thing, but somehow he said the Deathwalker got 27 defense dice, got his 9 defense stacked 3 times. To which I point out, no, that's not how the game works. And he proceeded to stand up and yell at me, saying, this is how the guy get 27 defense dice against these 3 grenades, even though they're 3 separate attacks. And I'm just looking at this guy, I'm like, okay, seriously, you're acting like a kid. Sit down. You need to stop.
Read the rules.
Read the rules. You're getting in an angry fight over such a stupid thing.
Oh dear.
Oh my god.
It's like, wow. It's like, this is the most embarrassing moment I've ever seen someone make of themselves in a tabletop miniatures game ever. It was just, It was sad.
Yikes.
Imagine.
I have no comment.
I'm just thinking about that guy must have been so mad, because even if you rolled 2, because it's only attack 2, so if you roll both skulls, that's the best possibility for you, and you only need 1 to get through for all of that Deathwalkers. So if he was like, oh, I need 20, I mean, first of all, I don't even know if they come with 27 dice. I don't know where you're getting 27 dice.
Yeah, I don't know how that goes.
But even if you thought you had, what is the oh my god, the Shields of Valor, I think it was, for the
maybe
Valkyrie, Jandar. Oh my god, literally every single what I would have said to name the squad, the Valkyrie squad. Oh my god.
Here's my question.
Double defense. Doesn't matter.
Here's my question to anybody out there in the Heroscape community. Is there ever been a time legally within the game that you have been able to roll 27 defense dice? I think that's impossible, but I don't know, for sure. But that would be a huge buff.
Definitely not within the confines of Rise of the Valkyrie.
Yeah, there are. I mean, Deathwalker has a bunch of defense dice. Anyway,
9 base,
unholy amount. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that seems like an impossible thing to me. But I don't know. Reaching out to the community and see what.
Oh no, he was cheating. He was completely cheating.
Yeah. If it was just Rise of the Valkyrie that was released at that time, there was no buff for that at that time. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't think there's any buff at all for that.
There's plenty of tabletop miniature gamers that'll outright cheat, especially when they think you don't know the rules because it's an odd circumstance. They'll just outright cheat, even if it means winning at a game that was designed for kids at a games convention when you're screaming at people in a room with several hundred people. It's like you just look really bad. Is that really what you got the price you want to pay to try to win at this game? I'm like, seriously, no.
Well, Jason, after holding that in for how many years, are you happy to? Are you happy to get that all out and release it to the to the audience?
Sure, why not?
Glad we could help. Anyway, okay, let me get to the lore part here of the Airborne Elite. It says character bio for the Airborne Elite. Battle trained on the planet Earth, the Airborne Elite squad has plagued the enemy with its deadly sneak attacks. Lifted high by the Valkyries and dropped behind enemy lines, they parachute down for a surprise visit, then quickly fire a barrage of grenades to unleash total havoc in the enemy's own territory. Off the battlefield, the elites are a fun-loving bunch, known for their practical jokes and... How do I say that word?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that one either. I'm a little lost. Rakos?
I should know this, and I'm hurting myself not knowing. Anyway, they're known for their practical jokes and card games. When called into action, they are unmatched in fast action focus and fearlessness. Even though that's not they're disciplined. They're not fearless. But anyway. So again, grenade special attack drop. Okay. I'm sorry.
Rakous is making or constituting a disturbingly harsh and loud noise.
Rakous, I think. Rakous.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever.
It's kind of like a word that we hear back in like the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not used as much anymore. And I think I pronounced that right. Although we have a lot of a pronunciation people that watch this. Nothing against you guys. I'm happy to be corrected in pronunciation because I butcher names all the time. So if I said it wrong, then I'll definitely be told that that I did. But anyway, about the lore, when it comes to the lore of the Airborne Elite, I mean, this is what I pulled from basically to set up, their characters for Tales of Valhalla: The Aftermath Chronicles, because you do see in like the beginning of season 2, they are playing card games. They obviously are a goofy bunch. I think I took that goofball thing a little too far, maybe, but that's just who they are now when it comes to Tales of Valhalla lore. And I always wanted to give them something more, which I'm glad I'm able to do in the sandbox of filmmaking that I'm able to have for them. We might discuss this some other time. I know Jeremy has good knowledge of this, but they weren't always a squad of 4, and that's something that I might have as part of their story in future Tales of Valhalla seasons, because there was talk of one of them being taken out by Izumu? I think it was Izumu. Killed an airborne elite, assassinated one basically. So in my imagination, they used to be a squad of 5. Now they're a squad of 4. Like they lost a comrade in arms, along the way. So I find that an interesting thing about them. And I think their attitude, much like, I think even more so than like Drake Alexander, I mean, they are like almost the kind of people like how we would be if we were all of a sudden taken by a Valkyrie general and thrown into, a world of magical proportions. We would just be normal people, but doing our best to fight our way through this world of magic and power, with our M1 rifles and grenades, and just a lot of know-how. So that's why I always liked them. I always liked who they are and what they represented. But yeah, any other thoughts on lore for these guys?
No, they're solid. They are like the other than Sergeant Drake, they are the unique squad that represents Heroscape. If you see them, that's Heroscape.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. Synergies. When it comes to synergies, and the fun thing is, I have most of these miniatures, so I've tried these type of synergies before on someone that I'm not going to mention who's on the show right now. But Marcus Decimus, Sir Gilbert, Sacred Band. Sacred Band is a wonderful army to have linked up with the Airborne Elite here. And then, so that is like with OG Heroscape miniatures, and then you got C3V miniatures like 8th Infantry Pathfinder, so Auric, Captain John Varin, Iban Armor. So there's a little bit of variety for synergies for the Airborne Elite. So it's like they don't have to be alone. There are armies you can manage and operate with them. So for this game. So that's always good. So for anybody out there, again, who's looking to get into tournament play or just fun play, and you want something a little bit more challenging than the norm when it comes to just the other squads out there, Airborne Elite would be a fun time, I think. And they are a cheap option too, because Rise of the Valkyrie master sets are everywhere, as well as, I mean, you could literally just buy a lot of Heroscape on Heroscape and they just be miniatures just scattered everywhere, and your best bet of percentages, you'd find an Airborne Elite in just like a bundle, and be able to find them, get out of the miniatures to get whatever army. Sacred Band is a little bit of an expense, but well worth the price when you synergize them with the Airborne Elite, especially if you got like Marcus Decimus with them as well. Tied up with the Romans, always good. Just never have the Airborne Elite against Orcs, because I did this at Escape Con last year against Mr. Chompy. It did not end well. Actually, I don't even think I was able to put the Airborne Elite on the board for that game. Like, the drop ability just I like whiffed like every time, and I think it was like until the end, to where it's like all my other miniatures got wiped out by Orcs, and I wasn't even able to bring the Airborne Elite on. It was not in my favor at that time. But yeah, anything else to talk about with the Airborne Elite here before we wrap up on this segment?
No, we good.
Anything? Okay, we're good.
Good.
All right. So well, that has been then looking at the Airborne Elite. Like I said, my guys. Again, and here, I'm gonna say this again because I love them's name. Know the names, and if you really want to know how I feel about the Airborne Elite, please go to the Tales of Hell YouTube channel. Watch the Tales of Hell, the Aftermath Chronicles series, which showcase these guys, which is, again, Toothpick, Gimp, Henderson, and the Lieutenant Daniel Taylor. And check them out. Anyway, that has been this squad unit, and you guarantee we're going to be looking up at more squads and heroes from Heroscape in the future. All right, so 2 down and 1 main segment to go. And see, I'm gonna bring this in here now. For the segment, I'm just bringing this up right now. There's some things to talk about when we get into. My goodness, my nose is itchy too. It's like, hate scratching it. But for the main segment tonight, one of our first ToV live streams for this year was reading some Heroscape lore from some Heroscape fan lore that Joe Crazy recommended, and read it, but was impressed and decided to do a segmented video on it and share it with Ryguy 266, who wrote the let's see, where is it, the short story Betrayal, and gave our thoughts on it. And here's where I posted that there. And Ryguy responded to my post saying, I'm just going to read this here. It says, "Wow, this is a huge honor. I'm so glad you liked it. Joe did such a great job reading the story. He really brought it to life. And you all took away exactly what I wanted from the story. Your kind words inspired me to write another story, or write another of the many stories I have stored away. I just uploaded the story to the OP. You have a lot of great fan fiction to get through in this forum." Yes, we do. We're barely scratching the surface. But I hope you will enjoy this one as well, and I hope you don't mind me changing the title of this thread, influenced in part by your great work. P.S. Joe Crazy, I think that a Heroscape short film sounds like a really fun idea, although your normal cup gains are so well edited, they're practically short films in themselves. If you want a co-writer, hit me up. That was a very nice thing for Ryguy to say. But yeah, so he changed his the name of the thread basically to, and I'll just say it here. Well, it's official. This is a series now, more like an anthology. This is a collection of stories, my favorite games and favorite moments in Heroscape, written in the fashion of fictional short stories. I'm calling them Myths of Valhalla. Very nice name, because none of these are intended to be canon or connected with each other at all. Some of them may be pretty intense, some of them may be pretty goofy, some are shorter, some are longer. Under each header there are some brief notes before each story detailing what game the story was from. It's good to get that backstory, and why I choose to write about it. They're listed top to bottom in reverse order of writing, but they can be read in any order. And he says, enjoy my newest story, Silence, and we'll talk about Silence. We're going to read Silence in a minute, but that was very nice of him. I figured, like I said, I'd share the video that we made a couple months ago on reading his first one, and he was very nice, very gracious about it in his response, and had some nice things to say, about you, Joe. So, and anything you want to say? Yeah, I think you've communicated with him since then. Is that correct?
Yeah. No, I did talk to him. He's a good guy, very good guy. Of how tired I thought I was of everything, like something of Valhalla. But Myths of Valhalla, that's a banger name.
Yeah, that is. That is. I like it.
I love that. Just at some point, I want to just I want to put my something of Valhalla into the ring. Someday, I don't know what it's gonna be. There's gonna be a long list of Valhalla series. Maybe that's what I'll do. A video on like everything that's of Valhalla. Myths of Valhalla, Tales of Valhalla, Soldiers of Valhalla. Casters of Valhalla.
You're happy to use my stuff as what is it? Like background stuff or whatever. Yeah.
Reference material. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But nice job, Ryguy. I like it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It seems very nice. So we will get into then silence, and what I'm going to do is, Joe.
Yeah.
You can read again. I'm just going to read his the very beginning here when he's describing where the story came from, and then you can read the lore story itself.
I got you.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
All right.
Good, yeah.
I think you were picked as the narrator. He said he loved your narration.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
well.
I think that's what we got to do with at least Ryguy stuff. All right. So Ryguy says, this story is from a game during a tournament I had recently during January of 2023. I hosted this tournament in Nebraska, so I brought a pretty weird army of 4 Granite Guardians and Johnny Sullivan. My opponent was really funny and friendly, and that was one of the most fun games I ever played, as we both had pretty goofy armies. However, the ending really sealed the deal for me as one of my top games ever. Enjoy. And so now, before Joe starts reading this, I'm just going to say is I actually have not read this short story yet. So you're going to get my just initial real reaction to this live, on the podcast. Or if you're watching this or listening to this on ToV Podcast, Audiosphere, it won't be live, but it's still my initial reaction. So Joe, go ahead.
All right. Silence by Ryguy. A whimper floated through the air, piercing the stillness of the forest. Johnny Sullivan opened his eyes, a scowl plastered under his mustache. Is it too much to ask for a little silence? He lashed out, his boots smashing into the face of a wounded Anubian wolf. Fangs splattered across the mossy stones, and the grotesque body convulsing in death throes. Better put that varmint out of his misery. The shotgun blast echoed through the trees. Birds screeched and took flight, evacuating their perches on the looming, twisting branches. Johnny winced. The ringing in his ear grew with each blast, and now it wouldn't fade. He spat on the carcass, regretting that he'd wasted his last moment of silence on an Utgar grunt. Stones shifted by the tree next to him. Gravel and granite swirled from the dirt until a mass of heaving rock, taller than he stood next to him. Howdy, Johnny drawled, tipping the brim of his hat. Thought you boys might be barn sour the way I left you behind. Y'all finish of the last of 'em? The Granite Guardian lifted his arm, a mass of dusty coal. The end formed into a recognizable gesture. It was signaling a number 1. What you mean, 1 left? Johnny shrugged. No odds to me. The Elementar lowered his arm. What? Y'all can't scare up 1 wolf. He glared at the sentient stone. Indents at the top gave the impression of eyes, and in those eyes were mountains of fear. Wind rustled the leaves, blowing a thick aura over the desolate path. Johnny blinked as the darkness grew, swallowing down the overwhelming fear. He gritted his teeth and wiped his brow with a clammy hand. His heart constricted in his chest, squeezing and squeezing until it might burst. Johnny dropped to his knees, reaching out a hand to warn the Guardian that dread could only mean one thing. Icewind. He gasped. A screaming flurry of crimson terror burst from the trees, crashing into Johnny and throwing him down the path. His knuckles cracked, and the ruined pavement knocking the shotgun from his hand. The Guardian groaned as the beast flailed at his chest, tearing the Elementor apart. "Get the gun, damn it! Get the gun!" His vision blurred, and the stench of fear burying itself deep behind his eyes. "Get the gun!" His fingers stretched toward the weapon. "Get the gun!" His hand grasped the barrel. A surge of confidence shot through him, and he rolled onto his back, aiming the shotgun at the creature. Its eyes turned to pierce its soul. Blood and spittle dripped from its chin. Its scared, distorted face sneered at him, claws still twitching from the kill. But there was no mistaking those eyes. The monster was still an Icewind. His finger rested on the trigger. The creature shifted, bounding away through the trees. He squeezed, the shot piercing its shoulder as it fled. It howled a violent, sound-rending screech before vanishing behind a tree. Johnny scrambled to his feet, charging down the path and hurtling over crumbling building foundations. He rounded the bend to see the Icewind creature tearing into another Guardian, its head thrust into the rock, sputtering and choking. Johnny watched in horror as a wound on its shoulder healed. He fired again. The Icewind took flight, bounding between trees and clawing at the Guardians. "Run!" Johnny bellowed, but the Guardians could hardly move. He swung, the barrel level again, but the creature aligned over a crumbled wall. A terrified Guardian scrapped from behind the ruin, but bludgeoned hands restrained it. Johnny swung the sight around. This was his only chance before it destroyed the rest of the Guardian advance and came for him. He breathed, the ringing in his ears finally settled, allowing him a moment of peace that cut through the darkness. He could see his target clearly, the Guardian in the creature's clutches. "Give Iskra my regards." The explosion rocked the forest. Dust and stone shredded in the trees and ruin, wiping out the area. Johnny ducked his head as gravel stung his face and hands. He coughed, wiping the grit from his eyes. The creature's body slumped against the ruins, torn to bits. Nothing could bring it back. The other Guardians turned to face him. Johnny gripped the gun, but instead they bent, seemingly bowing in gratitude. The wall of stone sank into the ground, disappearing until not a single pebble remained. Cool, crisp air blew across the gunslinger's face as sunlight glittered through the trees. Johnny closed his eyes, breathing in the sweet, sweet silence. Yo! That was dope! I want to watch that game. Dope! Wow!
Yeah, it's not every day you can win against an Essenwine like that.
No.
Especially with Johnny Shotgun
No,
Sullivan.
I was waiting to see, what is he going up against here? Is it going to be a dragon? Like, I was waiting for it to be like Cheros or something, or like, or Murmuring, or like, some big, like, but dude, the way he's talked about how it flew behind the trees and going back and claw, oh, I could picture that. Oh, I gotta look for this one line he said, but you guys tell me what you think.
What's that? Which one?
No, I'm gonna look for it. You guys tell me what your thoughts on it. I'm gonna go look for it.
Right.
Yeah, that was a good story. I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, I could almost like think, because I mean I have Johnny Shotgun Sullivan and Tales of How the Aftermath Chronicles, so the gentleman who voices Johnny Shotgun for my series, Mark, I can just hear his voice in this a little bit. it's very well done. I like describing the emotion of the Granite Guardians, giving them, even though it's I mean, it's hard to get water from stone, let alone a personality from stone. But I think Ryguy did a pretty good job with giving some emotion, especially fear. Like if a rock fears something, then you're in trouble. And I liked the weight of that moment, coming to bear when you realize something, very terrible was coming. If like this piece of rock, that's a creature is frightened, then you as the reader and Johnny Sullivan himself should be very scared as well. So I love that setup. It's a very good setup.
Yeah, okay, so I found it. My favorite line was right before we got the drop that it was a vampire. And it was his description of the stone, of the Granite Guardian, and
Right.
he glared at the sentient stone. Indents at the top gave the impression of eyes, and in those eyes were mountains of fear. That is so amazing.
And that's what I mean. That's what I was kind of just mentioning. You're right. It's like I said, giving like a personality, a life to creatures that you want to expect, to have that type of emotion. Yet nailed it. Really nailed it for them. I don't have Granite Guardians, but I'll never look at them the same way again.
No, honestly, I'm gonna look at them and go, well, what can I really make? What can I give to them that will actually make them fearful? Oh my god! In those eyes were mountains of fear, dude. That's so awesome.
I think he got good. Like you give with Johnny Shotgun Sullivan, you give him like a little bit of a history, especially like saying at the end, give Iskra my regards. So
yeah,
kind of indicating this isn't the first Essenwine he's killed, which is
right,
kind of
right.
cool to see it. But it's like, okay, 2 down, 2. I think actually one thing, I know this is a short story, but if I would say anything, maybe if in this anthology universe, if you would ever write Johnny Sullivan again, one other thing he might have said to himself before the silence is saying, my friend, hey, Diet Nerd, hey, we got Mr. Joey Ranieri commenting on the stream right now, who is none other than the Lieutenant Dan on Tales of Hell, the Aftermath Chronicles. Hi, Joey. How you doing tonight, man? We actually discussed a little bit ago on the Airborne Elite as the main showcase miniature squad for Heroscape tonight. We did talk a little bit about that. But anyway, what I wanted to say, and Diet Nerds, and Joey, he's saying needs more Lieutenant Dan in this. Well, yes, everything needs a little bit more Lieutenant Dan, and I was going to mention that too. But let me finish what I was going to say. If Johnny would have said something like, after give Iskra my regards, something like 2 down, 2 more to go, indicating because there's four Essenwines. It might have been something to add on to where it's like, ooh, something I could look forward to more in the future, maybe, possibly. But I know that Ryguy, writes these based off of inspiration of games he plays, so that might never happen with that matchup. But then again, it might be cool to leave something open. But yeah, that basically, I wouldn't even call that a critique. It's just more like an add-on kind of thing. But yes, I would say one thing I'd be critical about is the fact that, yes, so when is the Airborne Elite going to be written? And will they be written under the guise of Toothpick, Gimp, Henderson, and Lieutenant Dan? The audience the audience is asking, we need to know.
Yeah, I mean, at least for me, it's like I love these so much. I mean, obviously you read Betrayal and you go, okay, cool, that was a lot of fun, super cool idea, writing is fantastic, it could have been like, hey, that could have been, the best thing ever, but not that it knocks it out of the park, but man, it's the same level of amazingness, and I just never thought I would be able to see something. I mean, I'm not much of a reader. I don't read books. Okay. But reading, like, I want to read an entire book of this. Like, I generally like.
Yeah, no, it was very well done. It was very
like
well done.
if I feel terrible that Heroscape isn't bigger than it is, because I would love to see a book of the stories of that isn't just the journals, right? Like actual novels. Like, and I would absolutely read them. So that I mean, even the other line I just pulled out that I love so much, right at the end here, talking about the granite guardians again. How the wall of stone sank into the ground, disappearing until not a single pebble remained. I'm like, I mean, even them, I don't remember where they came in, but even how they just kind of grew out of the ground, and you described how they would appear, and then they just shifted away. Like, yo, that's awesome.
Giving them the type of backstory that, they're not just there walking around, they're part of the earth, actually, and they come and appear when that was a nice little take of it too. Yeah.
I really enjoy that Ryguy took it as not as realistic, but like in the sense that he's telling the story, and it's not like he moved 2 tiles and came around. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't make it it's not the game.
Right.
He took all of the game aspect out. Extracted all of it out, and then just whatever was left, and then added, what that world would be like.
He had enough detail to where you could see it in your mind's eye, and that's an important thing.
Yeah,
that's a very important thing.
See, I admire that so much.
Yeah. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not.
No.
And I mean, Jason's written some fiction actually for his
a little bit, yes.
Yeah, his Legend of the Caldazia, and I mean, I read through those, and those are fun. Those were fun to go through. You definitely can see what's going on in his stories. So, but I mean, it takes work. It takes work to write up a narrative. It does, especially if it's longer than a few paragraphs. If it's a book form, then that takes something. But yeah. So anything else about this before we wrap up this segment? Again, Ryguy. We said this before, but yeah, please don't stop. Keep on going, and of course, we'll probably mention you, whatever story you have in the future. I mean, sooner or later, it'll come up. I mean, we will be looking at other lore as well. We'll eventually dive into other lores and Heroscapers.com.
Yeah,
other lore
and
stories.
Please, anyone out there, any
Submit.
Heroscaper out there that searches through the website, and if you see something that you got, comment below, send a link to us,
or send us your own stuff if you got something too. Because there's a lot of raiders out there.
We'll read it.
For sure. All right. Well, if there's nothing else to say, I guess I'll just finish by saying, that this has been this main segment, reading Silence from Ryguy 266 on the Heroscapers.com forums, and there will be a link in the description below too for you all to go read and comment it yourself. So again, thank you, Ryguy, and until next time, this has been this. All right. I didn't know how to end that really. Anyway. Okay, and so we're about to wrap up with this live stream because that's basically practically it. But Joey was saying he just got home from work and saw us. We're live, so thought he'd pop in. Well, no, thank you, Joey. It's I guess I'll say one thing too, Joey, because I don't think I've talked to you in like a few days. No, I think it's been a little bit longer, but I'm still working hard on the end of season 3, and I'm hoping to be done in 8 weeks. It's just going to be, it's a lot of work. I'm probably going to have to not sleep a few nights a week in order to complete it. That's been my thoughts, even though I'm doing actually better than I thought when it comes to the work, but also I'm running out of weeks for my deadline. So I'm trying to get done as fast as possible. Anyway, we are going to get to the last little bit of this live stream by looking at some comments. And if you want us to read some comments from these live streams, just go to the YouTube live stream part, and there'll be just go to the comments section to the live video on YouTube and read. Or even though I'm also going to read a comment, actually, because sometimes I post on Reddit. Sometimes I get some good posts from people on Reddit. I'm going to read a comment there. So just find a way to comment off this live stream and try and include it. But first, I'm going to read from Mr. Justin here, and I need to make sure this comes out right here. Okay, so Justin is commenting on the podcast from last time. We were taking a look at Warmonium. Joseph was on showing us that game. It was a really fun podcast. And Justin says, Warmonium sounds like a game I'd be interested in, but I'm not a fan of the constant updates a game in early access requires. I might get it, but probably wait until the official release. Well, I mean, it is practically officially released. They're just going to end up tweaking it. And Joseph did explain that they're all the value they're adding on, they're not going to like up the price. So, you know, I mean, whether you want to do it now or later, it's totally fine. But
yeah, I mean, look, I mean, Steam, not to say that, you wouldn't want to give those guys not their full money, but, Steam sales do run a lot.
They do.
So,
and yeah, if there's opportunity to look out for something.
Will it ever be on sale through a Steam sale? I don't know how soon that would be, but
I'm sure.
Maybe if you want to just wait for it, if you don't feel like there's not enough there for you yet, you would rather wait for the single player stuff, is totally understandable.
For sure.
But then again, if you want to play the game, say it again, challenge me. You can play with me because I want to play the game. So there's that.
At the very least, get on their Discord or their I think that they have Facebook, or at the very least their Discord.
Yeah. No, check their Discord out.
That's
the best way to
get the Discord, get more information. From them. And at the very least, save the game on your Steam wish list, so that way you'll look at it and you can see it, and you'll be sent notifications about it, via email or whatever. But yeah, no, thank you, Justin. And definitely, since I've played it, Joe Crazy has played it. I really enjoy it, and as soon as I'm done with ToV season 3, it's something that I definitely want to do more of. So thank you, Justin, for that comment. And now next comment, and I didn't have time to edit this down, but let me bring this up. This comes from a Reddit user, and I gotta move this over here again, and I'm gonna have to zoom this in a little bit. I'm gonna bring this up. This comes from Knight Errant 1890, and he says, I'm assuming it's he, or they say, let's just say they. Awesome. Just want to say that I've been listening to this podcast while I paint my 3D printed Heroscape figures, and it's perfect. I collected sets as a teenager and am only now rediscovering how awesome Heroscape is. It's really nice to be able to hear what the top armies look like and base my 3D prints off of interesting metas and strategies that you all discuss. Keep doing what you're doing. I just want to make sure. Wait a second. Knight Errant, thank you. Sometimes you get comments that really, like, as a content creator, because we're not always happy-go-lucky all the time. We have our down moments constantly, and I mean, I with my own abilities, I'm not the perfect person for this job. I know that, but I'm the person who said, "Let's do it," and so we are. Thank you. I appreciate any comments of encouragement, especially when they come out so naturally. So Knight Errant, even if it was only you watching or listening, I keep on doing it just for the fact that you say so. So thank you so much. And then also just read the little comment below. So, Sub-General Dev, sounds like a great idea. I just got 3D printed set, Akila's Alliance, so I'll have to do similar while I paint. And I hope both you guys are listening to this podcast sometime in the future. And we do absolutely appreciate both of you. And keep on painting. And hey, if you're painting some miniatures, get my email, send me some photos, and would love to show them off on the podcast sometime for sure.
Or even just send them, join the Discord and post them on the Discord.
That's right, got a Discord. Yep, check out description below on YouTube, and you should find the Discord account there. Or just if not, send me an email and I'll send an invite. Or Tales of Hal official, I am on Discord, and find me, send me a message through that. There are ways to know and find out about it. But yes, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. So that has been the comments for tonight. Kind of a shorter live stream tonight, but we basically went through everything needed to talk about. It all was good, short but sweet and lovely. So,
and hopefully to the point.
To the point and wholesome. We get to the point sometime, somewhere. At least we should. But no, I guess we will wrap up then tonight. So I'll start with Jason. Go ahead, give your final thoughts, and tell everybody where to check you out.
A good time tonight. I enjoyed that story. I was actually trying to figure out what his opponent's army build was. Mm-hmm. So I got some ideas of what he was actually playing against, but I wasn't entirely sure if he meant they're doing some weird points thing where he had 4 Guardians or 4 squads of Guardians, and that kind of messes with things. But because if you did like a bit of a weird math thing where you allowed an extra Guardian plus Johnny Sullivan, you're at 200 points, which adds up to Ishka and one other Essenwine. There's also 200 points. But then there's no Anubis Wolf, so that's why anyway, I'm getting off into weird math things. So, if you want to see more weird stuff like that, where I sometimes go off in random math diatribes and other tabletop game things, you can check me out at Rocket Robotics on YouTube or the tabletopbattlefield.com. And also my tabletop miniatures game, Legends of Caladagia, hangs over at EmpireUnderSiege.com. And this little project over here, with some vehicles hidden among what are now forever going to be called broccoli trees, is slowly coming to conclusion, hopefully sometime here in the next few weeks.
All right. Thank you, Jason. And Joe, another thing worth mentioning too, Joe just surpassed his 400 subscriber mark on YouTube.
Yes.
Yay!
Yeah,
big applause.
That was a nice birthday gift. That was...
Mm-hmm. Yes, and happy birthday to Joe. Okay, and so yes, give your final thoughts and promote. I know there's a couple of things you want to talk about as well, so just the floor is yours, Joe.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, the Heroscape event we talked about earlier, that was super cool. Did that this weekend. This coming Saturday, the March 11th. I will be in the Massachusetts event. I will be playing in there at Game and Friends. So if you're on the East Coast area, if you're in that area, Connecticut, Massachusetts, East Coast, please come to the event. I'll be there if you want to play with me. either hopefully we get to play during the game, the matchups, or at the end, I will ask for people to come and play. You can be in a video of mine. The video that I recorded at the January event came out today, so go check out that event. It was Chris Perkins and his buddy Eric played. Quahan versus Agent I said Agent Skahan. I said Skahan. You said Shaken.
Shaken not
Ryan.
stirred. Shaken not stirred.
And then I think they say it's completely different
Skaheen?
in the game.
Right?
And I'm trying to remember exactly what Eric said. Sakeen? I think he said Sakeen.
Yeah.
Agent Sakeen.
That's actually kind of cool. Actually kind of cool name. Sakeen.
They all sound great.
Yeah.
So, like we were talking about earlier about the having a pronouncing things in Heroes.
Oh, I already got criticized for pronouncing the name wrong like so many times, like last time discussing it.
It has been the biggest thing in this community is how you pronounce things. All right.
If there's no formal pronunciation guide from, in this case, Avalon Hill or Hasbro back in the day, it doesn't matter how it's pronounced.
Facts. True facts.
There's no reason to assume that Valhalla's pronunciation of whatever their quote English language thing they use would be the same as any given English language here on Earth.
Right. Valkyrie, Valkyrie, potato. At the end of the day, we love Heroscape. So yeah, that's the big thing. And I know it's on my radar. It's on my radar because I'm not going to ScapeCon 3. I'm trying to go to as many local events as possible this year. So the next one at the end of the month, I was thinking, and I haven't confirmed it yet, but I'm highly considering going to March 26th. It's a Sunday, going to Maryland. There's an event going on in Maryland. I don't know the exact details off the top of my head, but I will link everything to Ryan's or him to put in the description. But yeah, so
Look below.
I want to go to those events. I want to meet with more Heroscapers, talk to more people, play against more people. I think even from talking to the Heroscapers for the ScapeCon footage that I've been covering on the channel, I've been learning a lot about this game, and it's because of you guys. I'm getting a lot better at the game. So I thank you, and yeah, I look forward to meeting more of you out there. So
yeah, and yeah, go ahead. No,
I was just gonna do the wrap up.
Oh yeah, that's right. Go ahead.
So yeah, I am not crazy. I'm Joe Crazy. Check me up on YouTube, Twitch. I'll be streaming tomorrow night, playing some Rainbow Six Siege. I'm actually be streaming with another streamer I just met recently, so looking forward to that. So check me out, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and then I'll have another upload for you guys on next Friday. So weekly content, baby, weekly content. I love it. So yeah. I yield my time, Ryan.
Okay, and I have to say too that I mean, looking at you from a few years ago. To now, your editing skill has greatly improved. Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah, leaps and bounds.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I've been doing it for so long. I've been, trying to improve and study and even my thumbnails. I think my thumbnails have increased the.
I need to learn a thing or two from you for thumbnails. I think I'm 40-year-old Ryan Wilkie. I just don't care. I just throw it out there.
So if by chance if you're out there and you're like you don't know what to comment, at least let me know if you clicked on it because of the thumbnail. That helps out a lot. So,
absolutely. All right. So, then I guess we'll wrap up. And of course, I am Ryan, Tales of Valhalla, the guy who's, for the past several years, created the stop-motion Heroscape adventure based off the board game Heroscape. And I'm almost done, finally. But there is a big, big gasp these next 8 weeks. I literally have tons of special effects, sound effect, music, end credit, just a whole bunch of stuff that I got to do. So for me, like, getting videos out there and posted, I'm probably going to be late in a lot of things just because my main focus is getting these last 3 episodes of season 3 done, and it's going to take all time and effort to accomplish it within the time frame that I want to do it. It's a race to the finish. And so what is going to happen is I live stream every Wednesday, every Sunday, and if I'm not doing a ToV podcast on Sunday, I'm editing away at these episodes. So come join me. Even if I'm editing furiously at this stuff, I have time to talk, and anybody chat, come in the chat and have discussions, questions, or whatever. Sometimes we do. Sometimes I talk about it. And so yeah, it's great to chat with people. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Mr. Joey Ranieri, aka Lieutenant Dan, there on the chat tonight. So thank you for chiming in for a second, saying hi. You have a purpose in your life. Find it, pursue it, live it. We'll see you guys next time in a few weeks when we do another ToV podcast. Later now. Bye-bye.
Peace.